Hello and welcome to HEXATalk, Industry Refresher powered by Hexanika. I'm your host Kritika Jain, and today I'm accompanied by our very own Yogesh Pandit, CEO and founder of Hexanika. Welcome, Yogesh.
Thank you, Kritika.
So we know that Hexanika, along with its partners, hosted a fair lending webinar series with a total of 4 sessions in the series. And this week was the last session of the series, which was a year-end summary webinar on fair lending. It covered various topics from 1071 and other different regulations, exams and scrutiny, how to be prepared, and what to actually accept going forward. Also, we highlighted some evolving best practices in terms of AI and ML. So this webinar series was a success with over 1,000 participants, collaboration, and conversation. So, Yogesh, do you perhaps want to add and share your thoughts or experience on a fair lending webinar series?
Yeah, absolutely. Kritika, if you remember, the whole focus or the start of these series was with the change in the new administration. Biden-Harris administration have had executive order on this topic. Secondly, you see significant changes in CFPB leadership and other leadership as well. So there is clear message to the industry, to the banking world, financial world, and people at large, because who are getting affected because of Fair Lending Act, that the government is serious and it is an important topic. Now, with that, there are tremendous changes that are happening in the marketplace, and there is an evolution of new technology also. So what we observed is that there is need, curiosity, and also anxiousness from the financial world, bankers or people in compliance domain to know about what is changing and what is expected based on our relationship within the industry, with the regulators, and what we see. And also clearly that the data, availability of alternate data by the regulators themselves is increasing, and the financial institutions are finding different ways to solve it. At the same time, they are also internally challenged with lack of resources, not being able to use advanced technologies such as AI. So there is a lot of gap in terms of where things are going and where the financial institutions are in terms of preparedness. That's what the observation was. And obviously, we will be talking about the poll a little bit, but there is more to come. And next year is going to be the year of action. Perhaps this year was year of observation and listening, but next year, the things are happening, and we are helping financial institutions to be ready with it.
So you mentioned about polls. So we conducted several polls and have received interesting results. So do you want to highlight some of the polls?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, in these kind of forums, institutions don't want to say that something is wrong with them, but obviously there are many institutions that are not prepared, and not prepared in terms of newness. It's not that they are not doing their compliance today incorrectly, but they are not prepared with the increased need of data. They are not prepared with the increased scope of regulation. They are not prepared with adoption of more automation and systems, end-to-end systems to do this. So unless the financial institutions start adapting to this and making themselves up to speed, and perhaps I will not see any surprises with the tone and the direction of where things are going. So the only way financial institutions can be ready is okay, prepare for the what is expected and have your resources, systems, even training and everything in order so that you can do. So that was the first poll on whether the banks were prepared or not, and almost half of them were not so prepared or not prepared. But uh, that can change, and they when it comes to compliance, it's not an option. You have to be prepared.
There was another poll that I'd like to highlight, which was around which was around, we asked the people that are they leveraging the new data sets or the AI to manage compliance. And around 41% said that they do not even leverage AI or alternate data. So do you want to comment on this?
Yeah, I mean, at this point of time, the regulators are making data available. It's not a requirement, or there's no enforcement of financial institutions to use it. But I clearly see that coming also, especially when it comes to redlining or other areas where the regulators have been much more stricter than in the past. Banks would require to use this data provided to be aware in terms of their competition, to be aware in terms of the industry, in terms of how their lending practices are. So although, AI and alternate data are options, but to be efficient, effective, I don't see financial institutions uh, who want to be ahead in the game not using it. And that's where we can help, right? That's where Hexanika and its partners and ICPA and other institutions can help banks to uh, think through all these things and think forward as well in adoption of what regulators are suggesting.
So, talking about what people want to hear. So, we did a poll, and around 64% was on new regulations, which is 1071 or overdraft fees. And 62% were around use of automation in fair lending. So, will Hexanika moving forward take up these sessions? And do you want to brief about this?
Absolutely. I mean, there's an interest. We received several feedback actually right after the event through social media, LinkedIn, emails, and other forums that they really like it, and they want to continue the collaboration and conversation in terms of changing regulations. So we will do that. And the second piece of automation, the financial institutions are currently burdened with lot of data and lack of auditability, and there are new tools and softwares available to actually solve that problem. And automation, whether through AI or without AI, doesn't matter, is going to play a critical role of simplifying compliance, making it much more transparent. That's what regulators are expecting. And we will continue this conversation in the next year as well. There are other topics that banks want to know more, crypto compliance and others, but I don't think that seems to be a key area of interest. It seems that regulations, changing regulations, preparation of regulations, response to the regulators, if there is a scrutiny or examination, seem to be of higher interest, and those will be the topic of 2022. And as I said earlier, 2022 is going to be the year of execution to do things. This year was more of observation, listening, and that is going to change. Next year, banks will have to prepare for the data. PPP loans, especially around small lending, will come under the purview of compliance. I don't see that changing. It's just a matter of time. So banks will need to get ready. And when they're getting ready, they rather get ready with new advanced automated solutions than the traditional manual way of doing things. So I think we all should be ready with 2022 on these topics. And I think 2022 is going to be an interesting year. Back to you, Kritika.
So definitely the next year is going to be really critical in terms of execution, as you mentioned. So Yogesh, thank you for joining us today, and it was great chatting with you. For everybody else, thank you for joining us, and look out for the webinar recording and the white papers around fair lending in the description. And don't forget to reach out to us if you want to be a part of our webinar or our HEXATalks. We would love to collaborate. Stay tuned for more updates. And I would just like to conclude by saying happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.